Remember, you're in charge, Dakota. When we get to the main portion of the show.
Yeah.
We're recording.
Okay. Well, how do we do this? Let's see. It's been a while. We're practicing back in the studio. Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 300. We're coughing instantly. Episode 331 of East Central's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrill, joined by, I'm taking attendance here. Executive video producer, audio engineer, Zach Burcham is marked present. Jeremiah is here, yes. So that's my fourth appearance of the year. Is that right? Fourth?
Fifth.
Fifth? No.
It's got to be
January. This is like our fourth show of the year. And then we've got Mark Brim is not here. Mark Foltz not here. Mark's been here one time this year, so he's gone once on the calendar. And Dakota, we're going to mark you down. This is your third time.
My third.
Your third. And then we're going to put Zach up at the top here on the whiteboard. Zach, you've made 3 as well. So we have the official scoreboard up here on the board on the front. All right.
I would like to say that I was uninvited from last week's show, and it was done at a time I couldn't make it. But I do like I'm with Dakota, though. It feels like we're 5 weeks into January.
Mm-hmm. It does. It really does.
January is the longest month of the year.
Yep. My family has 5 birthdays, including myself, in the month of January.
Oh, yes.
You are
just every weekend.
You are seasonal spawners in the Davis family.
That's not the Davis family. I'm the only one in the Davis family with a January birthday.
They selected you. They selected you to bring you in. What are we doing today, Dakota?
Today's episode features the 3 of us, and we're going to be talking. This is kind of an old school version of the show where we're going to be talking about more serious issues for some reason. It's going to be political leaning.
I gave you all of these show ideas.
Hey,
You're like, screw you, we're talking politics.
I planned it. That's right. Well, because I thought, usually we do a show where we cover some things that we are paying attention to in the State House, and we haven't even talked about it as a group this year, which is kind of crazy for us. So I did some digging today and went through, looked at, I do subscribe to the Capitol Chronicle, and they've been covering a bunch of stories, and I've been neglecting them. So we're going to be talking about those stories that I neglected, and also water mains in Newcastle. But in the State House, we're going to be talking about community health response teams, which would be like a non-emergency response unit, which I think is something interesting to talk about. Paid school chaplains in public schools in the state of Indiana, property tax things going on with child care, and then Hoosier Happy Hour, which is a very interesting bill that has a close-to-home connection. So make sure you stick around if you want to hear what that's all about.
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes it'll provoke you, other times it'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. If you happen to be a part of our Patreon, you'll understand what all the white boxes are on the table and why we keep eating.
That's right, patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. That's where you go to support the show every month on the monetary basis. We're a little short, guys. We're a little short of what we do monthly. I mean, we sell some sponsorships here and there, and that's what keeps us afloat. And that's how we pay the bills in the studio. It's primarily through Patreon. We don't do ad reads throughout the normal show season here, and we like to kind of keep it that way. We don't want to interrupt our conversations that we're having with candidates, with business owners, and try to do a commercial in the middle of that. And we know that you appreciate that. We appreciate you guys supporting us in that endeavor too. If you sign up at Patreon at any level, you get access to show notes before the show starts. You can follow along. Shows like this, that is very valuable because we're going to be talking about Senate bills and House bills that have been filed, and I have links to all of the CapitolChronicle.com's links where they break down all those bills in their articles, so it's very valuable information. You get that before the show starts, and you can follow along and read exactly what we are reading. Then you get access to the Facebook group where we do another live stream. It's a 20 to 30-minute episode where we do every week. And if we try any interesting food items or Jeremiah brings something in, we've drank pickle whiskey, we've done crazy stuff, that's where we do that at. And Patreon.com.
We had the Jeremiah weed.
Yep, that was awful. We've tried all kinds of different awful things and spicy things. And patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. That's where you can go to see all of that stuff. If you get it. Oh, Jeremiah, you want to do this part, or should I?
You got it.
Okay. If you sign up at $50, I just feel like I've been talking a lot.
You're doing great. This is your show. I'm just here to watch.
If you sign up at $50 or more a month, then you get a shout out at the front of every episode, and those folks are Miss Christy Avery from Fort Wayne, Indiana, our favorite Norwich Steeler, Mr. Jonathan Phillips, who, by the way, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, is now running for Henry County Council at large. I'm sure that he could use some support. We did support him during his Newcastle City Council run. Excited to see him staying involved in the community. And then Mr. Anthony Meyer, who has, what's his trucking company's name?
He's a different breed.
A different breed trucking company. So he's doing his best to just keep America running, man. There's a lot of chaos right now, and it's people like Anthony Meyer that keep us afloat. So thank you to all three of those individuals. We appreciate you very, very much.
And we'd love to add to that number.
Yes.
We would love to add to that list. Those three have been absolutely spectacular for being a part of it for so long, but we'd love to add some
They've been doing it for so long, it makes me nervous.
If it wasn't for them, we would have pipes bursting around here when it's -7 degrees outside. I'll tell you what. John already has jumped onto it. I saw him on Facebook trying to solve the problems of the county. Apparently the Memorial Park Board has got a $150,000 budget cut that they're expecting, and they are.
Did you say 150?
About 150 grand. Yeah,
Whoa.
They need to move some money around, and
that's crazy.
Things are unknown. So they've had some retirements and some things moving around, and they don't know. That's reporting from the Courier Times. So I encourage folks to get themselves a Courier Times subscription. Go check it out. We do need to read it into the record that it was about 46 degrees today. Allegedly, 46 years ago, right now, was the blizzard of 1978. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I've not heard.
But there was a major blizzard in 1978. We checked the textbooks and talked to the few survivors that are left from the era, and I'm told it was quite bad.
I bet it wasn't that bad. I'd love for someone to try to correct me on that. I've never heard about it in my entire life, so it can't be that awful.
I mean, my Fitbit, my memory last week was that I spent 2.5 hours shoveling. My memory on Facebook about a year ago this week, I spent 2 hours shoveling my driveway. So I feel the pain. I understand it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's
about the same.
Yeah. You know, we did have record-breaking low pressure in the wintertime here just a couple weeks ago.
It was worse than anything we've ever recorded. So. Just 2 weeks ago. And then after that, the world froze. Mm-hmm. And now that it's thawed again. Now we're in this god-awful frost. We do a lot of weather talk on
really.
Last week was weather talk on the frozen lake.
Really, people who remember the blizzard of 78, they had it easy versus what we've experienced
now
in the
they're just
wintertime.
collecting Social Security checks.
And
you're welcome.
Versus what we have experienced in the wintertime, that is way easier than anything we've had.
I mean, could you imagine how nice it'd be if everything was just frozen in the wintertime? Because now what's happened is that it was...
now it's mud season.
Now it's mud. And my dogs, by the way, know it. And they are talented mud jerks. My lab is about ready to outgrow the doggy door. We are right at the limit. Nash can't grow anymore, or else he's going to have to decide if he's living inside or outside. But that's aside. The ground was completely frozen. The air is now like 55 degrees, and the ground is like 33. So it's just like it looks like Alaska outside. There's just 100% humidity. It's kind of raining. I can't tell. Maybe the ground is spitting stuff up, and then as this is happening over and over, all of the earth moves. We have little mini earthquakes, and it just takes our water lines and just shatters them. This has been our existence.
Yeah, we've been in a cloud since Tuesday. Just like on the ground in a cloud.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I told my 3-year-old.
Yeah,
I was at Dawson's on Main in Speedway, Indiana yesterday, and it reminds me of May when we live in May. We live there in May, Zach, because it's just a final approach for the airport or planes coming in and out of the airport, and you could just hear them going, but you couldn't see a damn thing. It's just the sound of planes and just pure fog. Bill Lowry says this isn't even worth his time. Well,
Yeah, it's funny.
Bill, Bill, you don't count because you would have lived in the country. You actually are a survivor. But if you lived within city limits in Newcastle during the blizzard of 1978, I don't.
Honestly,
I don't know.
I would love to see something like that happen again in my lifetime.
You'd just have an e-learning day, and you'd have to go to work.
Just once.
You'd
I
just
would
be on-
have.
You'd have a combat snowmobile.
I'd have
the
to go.
four-letter would
I'd
come
have
in.
to go to work if I wasn't remote. I'd have to go to work because Marion County does never declare it. They declared one snow emergency in the 17 years I've been a state employee.
I mean, but just something like that where we get feet of snow. That I would love to see.
What's
it
amazing
just
was
once.
it wasn't actually that much snow. I think I saw it because they were even talking about it on the news.
It's like 2 inches, right?
It was 15 and a half inches. But apparently the wind was nasty.
It's
So
the
it was-
blowing and drifting. It's
so it was
always
drifting.
the blowing and drifting.
Yeah, it's blowing the drift.
See, I feel like we've gotten a foot of snow before in my lifetime.
I bet we've gotten some 8 to 12. I can't remember. I've obviously got a terrible memory.
It's been years though.
Yeah.
But just once though. I'm still saying I would love to have
I like
a,
once a
like
year. I'd like to get a good
18 or 20 inch snowfall just for fun. It would be fun. If everybody stayed off of the roads and didn't hit a pole, it would be a lot of fun.
That's the thing, though. Is
I don't trust people with anything. I was literally driving home today between my day job in Muncie and getting home so I could eat dinner, print the show notes out real quick, and get back up here. I turned left off of State Road 3 onto Riley Road, and there I've got the turn made. I'm good to go. And then out of the cloud appears a gray Japanese import without headlights on, and I got through. The car behind me had to clear it by 6 inches because he followed right behind me, and it was just like all of a sudden there's a car.
Yeah, we kept I ran with the cross country team today, and we stayed around the Baker Park because he didn't really want to. Jeff didn't want to run us into the kids into town because I was like, our kids won't see the car coming, the car won't see the kids coming, and the kids will, even when the car's visible, they'll like just run. There are multiple people that posted today about please turn your headlights on.
Yeah, it's insane.
Cade did. Cade posted about please. I was like, man, come on, people.
It's real. I
bet they're like, my headlights are automatic and I don't need to turn them on.
They're not.
Yeah,
They're not in that.
People not having their headlights on is actually like a bigger problem I feel like it's ever been because I think a lot of dashes light up and people are like, well, my dash is lit up, I can see, and they just don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, if you drive a 15-year-old car that doesn't truly have daytime running lamps, but your dash is fancy, you're the problem.
Speaking about roads and transportation, with the latest water main break, they lost 2 million gallons of water in 6 hours. In downtown Newcastle.
You have a
Main
well,
Street.
do you not?
I do.
So you're not. I know Spiceland gets water from Newcastle. Zach and I are both on Newcastle City Water.
Yeah.
I woke up at some point in the night. I guess this was Sunday night into Monday morning. So like 3 or 4 in the morning, I saw in the scanners group. I'm like, big water main break. We don't know. I'm like, oh great. So I wake up on Monday morning and I go to shower and I'm like, I kind of got a shower. It was low pressure. It was noticeably different, but it wasn't great.
I was concerned because I have busted a line in my house before. I have a kitchen over a crawl space with a sink at the far end. And my mother texted me like the day before. She's like, "This is a dangerous time for pipes." And then I get up on Monday morning, and I was like, I had not seen anything online about it because I hadn't been on my phone or anything. But I noticed that my water pressure was not good in my house. I was like listening for water running in like the crawl space, and like I can't. There's stuff to move out of the way. And then I was on my way to work, and I got a text from the school saying, "We're on 2-hour delay. There's a water main break." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, thank you."
Thank the Lord.
It's not in my house, but it had to be significant. I live a mile away from that water main break.
I mean, this is probably the second worst one that I've noticed. Where we had one a couple years ago where it drained all of the water towers.
Because that one was feet from the building where it comes from
the main office.
Yeah.
This one was, by the way, it was on Main Street in Newcastle again. Right on it's like my north-south road. So coming to the studio, I could not drive, or at least the road closed signs are there. I could not get to the studio.
You could get there with the road closed. Yeah, there's still some piles of dirt. Like they haven't really finished up the street cuts.
And if you drive through town, man, it's like that all over.
Well,
the place.
I'll tell you what, I would try to drive through there today, and so I turned right and went on the neighborhood to the west of there, and there were like 2 or 3 more subsequent water main breaks as they were fixing that one
Wow.
that day.
Well,
So
that on Tuesday they said that the Courier Times reported that it was the 12th break in 9 days.
Greg Phipps needs a break himself,
and
his
his
team.
crew, they're still. I mean, the city's still dealing with the ramifications of that one that was on, which was a quarter mile away, a massive one. I don't know if they ever released a gallon count, but that one, they're people's houses, which might be total. Like, well, I was talking to somebody. He's like, "Yeah, I was in a house," and I asked the guy, "Do you water get in your house?" He's like, "No," but part of my foundation shifted like inches, like his house moved because of the amount of water on that one. But they get this year was the same as the last couple. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Thanksgiving. They get all the major holidays that they're supposed to get off. There's like 3 water main breaks, all those. So yeah, they've worked a bunch.
And this was something that, I mean, we heard a lot about it whenever we were interviewing candidates for the city elections. People talking about we really need to start paying attention to our infrastructure that you can't see. And, I mean, it's like constant. I'm just constantly seeing on Newcastle scanners or from you guys in a group chat, look, there's another water main break. It's like, God dang.
It was like the perfect storm of like I have 18,000 gallons of water in the backyard, but it was frozen. Like the pool's closed and there's no way to just go get a bucket of water. I was like, man, I should have filled the bathtub. I guess when I figured it out, I should have filled the bathtub because you can always flush a toilet. This is a pro tip here. You can always flush a toilet.
Yeah, toilets actually don't flush based on water pressure. It's a weird I think it's a weird like vacuum the way that the pipes are designed.
You just have to have enough water in the bowl that
it's a volume of water
that
thing.
it creates a siphon and it pulls it through.
Yep.
So if you fill that toilet bowl enough, it will leave. Just know that. Whatever's in there, it will leave. So you just need to have more water. So a full bathtub when this is happening or storms are coming, you can survive with it. Unless you live in White Estates and you have a grinder pump, and then you've got like 200 gallons of capacity, and then nothing's leaving. Yeah. Then it's all staying.
That's the first time.
Same at my house.
That's the first time I really recall people not having water for a period of time. And I think that big break we had that was like a couple years ago that drained the water towers. They asked people to not use water because the water towers needed to be refilled, which is I think the only time I'd ever heard that before was during a fire. The fire department drained a water tower. But yeah, it's one of those things that I think like, well, can they get ahead of it somehow? And I don't know if there's a way they can. We're an old town, old infrastructure, and if some people say, well, you just start replacing them. Think about the logistics of replacing every water line that runs to every house in Newcastle. And you have to dig up every street that they're under. And I was like, I don't know how you do it. So I'm not sure what they do about it.
Yeah, I know that the campground that we camp at, my dad was on one of the boards down there that runs the place, and they had looked into replacing the water infrastructure that runs through the campground, and it was just over $1 million for
a
campground. So for an entire city of 20,000 people, it's astronomical. The amount that it would cost would be insane. Plus, you have to think about how much it's going to cost to repave all the roads when it's done.
You have to fix it.
Factoring all of that in it's more than what the city could pay for by themselves. You can't just go, well, the city can pay for it.
This is a place where there's an opportunity for some innovation in the world. If someone can find a cost-effective way to replace water lines, horizontal boring, whatever it is,
right?
Abandon the old lines. The problem is you got to tie everybody in, right? Flint, Michigan just went through this with all their connections they had and their old lines. You've got to find a cost-effective way to change this stuff out.
Was there a problem in Flint with their water?
No, there was no problem with their water until they changed it. They had a nice, safe film over everything, and then they saved a buck by changing their water vendor, and then the water vendor that caused some corrosion in the protective film that then let all the lead fittings kill everybody.
Well, I know that I don't know if it's like I don't know, you call it food safe or whatever, or fit for consumption. There's a system that you can like reline existing pipes. Like you run in, it's just like a plastic that goes in
I've
soft,
seen
and then
that.
you hit it with something and
A resin.
resin, and it hardens. I'm not sure if that would work, but yeah, but you do.
A lot of people do that for sanitary lines.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure if that's something that's rated for, and even then it would still be.
Your
I'm
supply
assuming
lines
they-
are a lot smaller diameter.
I'm assuming still then you have to shut people's water off, like flush that through, and then flush it again to make sure that get it done, and then clear the lines for people to be able to then consume the water again. But so that's still it sounds like a nightmare.
This is going to dovetail nicely into where the rest of the show is going to go with the state house ideas and state house issues. Okra exists, and I know they help out with a lot of rural wastewater issues.
That was the whole reason it was started, right?
The freshwater side, I think there's going to be some massive. Newcastle's not alone in this, in the age of our town and what's happening in this community with these water line breaks. But it's the same thing that causes your potholes, right? It's the freeze and thaw cycle, and between now and about the end of March, this is going to be our existence. You're going to be warm, and it's going to be fine. We're going to be in the 50s for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then we're going to take another dive, and then we're going to freeze for a week, and then we're going to come back up again, and it's just going to be terrible.
Yep, that's absolutely right.
All right, Dakota, this is your program show. I'm handing you the baton.
It is not.
Lead the way. I'm so excited.
All right, you want to pull up your show notes on your laptop? That would be great. Pulling up some articles for us.
PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just going to help out.
Redirecting.
Enhance.
So
one thing that I thought was interesting, that this was a headline that I saw from this website is really great. I really enjoy the Indiana the Indiana Capital Chronicle.com. They cover basically all year round. They're covering politics, everything that's going on in the State House, in a very, very neutral and unbiased manner. And it's very professionally put together. Everything is very easy to read. It's a little different. You know, we have indie politics that covers a lot of things that's going on in Indianapolis.
Good old Abdul Hakim Shabazz.
And a lot of times you will see a headline on indie politics and you'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I want to read what that's about. But it's just a link to a radio show segment, right? And you're not.
What do you have against audio?
You don't always have time to just sit there and listen to a radio show segment. You just want to read the dang article that you clicked on the headline for.
Dakota was born as a 73-year-old man.
So
I just want to read a newspaper and have it come off. I want the ink print to stay in my hands.
If I'm sitting there eating and I'm looking at my phone, I don't want to have to listen to the radio whenever I thought that I was going to be reading something.
You don't carry around
That's
earbuds
what's
like I do you?
No. Because I'm a normal person.
Zach,
I'm a
do you carry
psychopath.
earbuds?
You carry earbuds in
No,
your
I don't
pocket
actually,
all day?
no.
Yeah,
You
I
carry
just-
them?
No,
I have them. These. This is not a commercial. Stand up. Just stand up.
I have buds like that.
Stand up. Let me see your pants. Stand up. Turn. Lift your shirt up. No, to the front. Wait. Come back the other way. Turn. Slide this in that little pocket right there. In your old school watch pocket. Those fit in there perfectly. Now shove them down a little further. Now we maybe wear different size pants. It's possible that my pants are larger than yours, but they slide in mine just fine.
I feel like
you
that
don't
would
even
be.
feel it.
I feel like that would be constricting to my pocket to get my phone in and out
That's
of.
an everyday carry item right there. And instead of American
But why?
Eagles,
Why would you need them?
Because maybe I need to click on an Abdul Hakim Shabazz thing and listen to it. So I throw an earbud in, and I get two things at once.
But anyway, the Indiana Capital Chronicle.com is very, very good for covering things that are happening in the State House. They had this article that I saw about community health response teams, and this is relating to a Senate Bill number 10. And it's actually, they're talking about two different Senate bills, but Senate Bill number 10 is by a Republican named Scott Baldwin. He represents Noblesville, and he is creating a grant program that can establish another type of response team in communities that can fulfill non-emergency calls. That instead of a first responder, your fire department, EMS, or your sheriff's department responding to.
So mental health, addiction, homelessness, elder care, somebody that needs an emergency needs a routine transport to the hospital, that sort of
Stuff like that. Stuff like, I mean, this was a big topic in Henry County recently. We had John Sproles on about it, talking about non-emergency calls that they get to other parts of the community. And this would create a grant program to where they can start funding that. And then there is another Senate bill that deals with the long-term funding of setting up those departments across the state of Indiana. And I think that this mainly deals, the way that I understood it in the article, it mainly dealt with more rural communities. His problem was with what he called deserts, so places where they didn't have enough taxpayer revenue to where they could fund this on their own, and communities would apply for it just like every other grant and then be awarded it, and then the other Senate bill would deal with the long-term funding. The question that I had was, what happens if Senate Bill number 10 passes, but the Senate bill that deals with the long-term funding? Because a Senate bill, the Senate cannot make financial decisions in the state of Indiana long-term.
Right. It has to come through the budget.
It has to go through the House, so I'm confused on how that's working anyway.
Well, if both bodies accept it, then you
what happens when Senate Bill 10 passes to establish them, but the other bill that establishes the long-term funding doesn't pass?
Yeah, that's the problem, is who's going to pay for it, right?
It makes sense, and this was a giant discussion in 2020 when people were talking about, if someone's having a mental health crisis, we want a mental health professional showing up, or we need to be training police in matters of mental health and how to handle it. So there were discussions like that.
Not to be Debbie Downer on this one, but the state discovered in December they've got a $1 billion problem with their budget from last year anyway, where they're trying to cut services for a number of folks because of they misinterpreted some federal Medicare funding. So maybe a great idea and very much needed, but I'd be surprised if this actually goes anywhere this cycle.
Right, but
But they're doing important work at this point on it.
One of the things that surprised me that almost the most whenever I was reading that article was it being presented by a Republican. I didn't expect that one at all.
Yeah, and honestly, it was so. There's some links there. Scott Baldwin is the senator for Noblesville. Noblesville's mayor is Chris Jensen, who is I think he's been a part of the Holcomb administration. So there's a lot of ties to the governor's office in that, and it sounds like a very fourth year of his second term Eric Holcomb idea. I'm not sure it's going anywhere.
Senator Mike Kreider is mentioned in this article as well, because he's a member of the committee that this was presented in, and they were going to be hearing it in the committee. It was allowed to go to committee, so it's interesting.
Yeah, and look, mental health. Everybody talks about it, and somebody's actually trying to tackle a portion of it, which is important. I'm skeptical that anybody's actually going to do anything about it in this cycle, but I hope we continue to work our way down the line. All right,
it's being talked about, and then once again, another way that they are talking about it is there were a couple of different bills that were proposed dealing with religion in Indiana schools. And one of those bills was a bill that would increase the amount of time that students can go to religious instruction institutions or events and take days off of school for those. That is currently allowed already, and the United States Supreme Court has already given its blessing on students doing that. If you didn't know, if your church is doing something and your kid is in school that day, then they can be excused from school to go to a church function. So
that's
just so you know.
The churches should have had an emergency function on an e-learning day, and then the kids would have gotten out.
Right.
Check Patreon if you want to know the backstory.
All of COVID.
So it says school. What's that second word, Dakota? I want to see how you pronounce this. Reading from right there on Highway 40. What is the word?
Chaplains.
Oh, he got it.
What did you think I would say?
Chaplains.
Chaplains?
School chaplains.
No.
He's an educated
I know
son of a
chaplains.
gun. He's a college boy.
So then there's another bill, which is Senate Bill number 50, and this would allow public schools to pay chaplains, to hire chaplains to work in the school in conjunction with the school counselor's office, the guidance counselor's office. So
We tried to have a county chaplain, or they attempted to do that a year or two ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, I
They
remember
had somebody
somewhere along-
soliciting their services for such a position.
They're very expensive. All right, continue, Dakota.
Anyway, I don't really necessarily see this going anywhere. Maybe the first one, the House bill that allows more time for students to be off, fine, that's whatever. I can't see.
I think
First of all, I can't see a school district hiring a chaplain. There's already a bunch of chaplains that are working in schools on a voluntary basis.
I was gonna say I would think that the more appropriate way to do it, and I wouldn't think this would be that hard, is to get like a network of local religious people that are okay with volunteering their time to come in and have a rotation where they're coming in as needed, like they're kind of on call.
Right. And the problem would be equal representation
Yeah.
in the school district with the chaplain. If you hire a Baptist preacher as your chaplain, then that is unfair to any Jewish students that you may have that are also seeking spiritual guidance during the school day, or Muslim students. It would be very unfair to those kids. So then you would say, oh, if you hire that guy, then you've got to hire this, or then is there going to be legislation saying you have to hire a Unitarian chaplain only, that can effectively meet the spiritual needs of all religions in your school
Why
district?
do we need chaplains, not counselors? You have school counselors, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have, and if something happens, or there's
They bring
if
in
there's a
grief-
student death, they
they bring in like
grief
grief
counselors and deal with
I
stuff.
think it's a lot easier. It makes more sense to have people on call. You may have a situation where a student has a specific thing going on, and they're allowed to call their own if they have a religious person that they want to.
Well, I
bring
really
in,
think
yeah.
you can. I think that
Yeah, I
if
think that's-
something happened and you said, my kid has to take the next couple of days off because they're going to be meeting with our pastor because of the events that happen, because of how the law is already structured with being allowed time off for religious instruction, that is totally fine. And you are well within your rights to do that, and your kid will not be punished at all.
And it's been that way for years because I had a kid that I graduated with a kid who will leave to do church functions all the time. So
Right.
that's not even a new thing.
Well, and the ag community, like Senator Lysing has always, who represented this area for a long time, she would find ways to make sure that as the state fair and the school calendar wind up overlapping each other, that any student that was involved with
State
showing
fair.
livestock or
Yeah.
had things at the state fair could get the excused day down at the
Right,
to go to
yeah,
the state
that was
fairgrounds
always a
as
thing
well.
when I was growing up.
So I mean, it goes both ways. It's not
I think it's great. I think that having
the less
time
time in
off for
school, the better,
religious
as far as
instruction.
Dakota's concerned.
I think that if you are a parent who wants to have their kid to be involved in your church or any religious institution, then you should absolutely be allowed to do that, and the government shouldn't get in the way of you being able to do that. And so I do think it's good. I think even more days, fine, whatever, that's cool. The way that they've structured school calendars in the past few years is so ridiculous. They get such sporadic, weird time off that it makes sense to me. If a kid's got church camp and they're part of a large, like a Southern Baptist convention or something, and most kids don't go to school until after Labor Day, but then here they're in school a month before that. And guess what? Every other church in the region, they're doing church camp while you're in school. If that was my kid, I would say, well, they're just gonna be missing school that week. And this bill, with the extended amount of time, allows that, and I think it's a good thing. And then,
You think they should just have vacation days? Look, I need 4 or 5 vacation days available for my kid. Just some flex holidays.
Honestly, yes.
That way they can just
I'll be
like,
honest. Like, we had a kid on the cross country team who came to us and said, "Hey, I need a day off. I'm having this and this and this going off. I need a mental health day." And we're like, "Okay, does this day work?" Because it's like an off workout day or whatever. And they were like, "Yep." And that was fine. So, yeah, kids today especially are so stressed out and have so much going on that they should be allowed like to kind of tap out for a day.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
just block it out and say, "You're not doing it finals week, okay? You need to take your damn test."
Yeah, acceptable times.
But yeah, you should just have five gimmies. Yeah, I'm not coming in today.
Yeah.
I just want, maybe family needs to take a vacation and we're gonna do it at a cheaper time. Maybe you need a mental health day, whatever.
And
but just
who
the hell with it.
cares? Who cares? Honestly, the way that are you going to put on your resume as a 40-year-old man that you had perfect attendance when you were in 9th grade?
I don't even admit that I was homeschooled. I'm not telling them about 9th grade.
Exactly. No one gives a damn. It doesn't even matter.
I have 2 college degrees. I had this conversation in the family within the last couple weeks. At 40 years old, if you have a working life at all, nobody cares where you went to high school. Nobody cares that you graduated high school.
They'll ask to see your transcript to prove that you did it.
Maybe, depending upon where you are.
And
depending upon what you're doing.
That's the most that they'll probably look at, is just want to see the transcript as proof. Because I know some places back in the day they want a sealed transcripts. They want to make sure you're not making it up.
On my resume,
if you have 20 years of work experience,
Yeah.
nobody's going back to see.
Well, I think some places
to
ask because that's their procedure is to ask, and they're not going to not ask.
I'm not going to
now,
work.
on my
is it going to matter? No, but they'll ask still.
on my resume, it says under the education section, it says that I went to Ivy Tech from 2014 to 2016, pursuing a degree in electrical technology before entering the workforce. That's what it says. It doesn't say I left. It just says before I entered the workforce, I was pursuing a degree in electrical technology. And it doesn't say I don't have a degree, and it doesn't say I do have a degree.
Well, if you didn't put it on there, we know I don't have one. My resume is printed on a dot matrix printer. I haven't applied for a job since 1999, so it's been a while. So I can't comment on that one per se.
I bought one thing of resume paper my entire life, so yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's still upstairs, like the heavy
resume
stock.
paper.
Yeah, they have
Sir,
resume
you email
paper.
them now.
Yeah, they didn't then.
Yep. I think I dusted mine off the other day, and it's got hyperlinks in it now.
Oh, mentally, I think everybody quits about 6 times a week.
I linked my Instagram page to it.
You did not. You did not.
No, I didn't. That's a
yeah,
joke.
Zach, you remember when Dakota
I'm just gonna
went
make
through
this easy for you.
You went through when Dakota was doing his shirtless selfies on Instagram for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's one on
yes,
there.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm not the shirtless selfie guy, but here it is. And then just make sure a QR code on your.
Here's what's funny though is that Dakota said that as a joke. Somebody's done that.
There's for sure somebody's
done that. They got their follower count like up their borderline like local influencer thing. Somebody's done that when it had no bearing on the job whatsoever.
Yeah, they were applying for like McDonald's.
Yep.
I could bring so much traffic into this Wendy's on South Madison Street in Muncie.
Oh, should we talk about that? Did you see that video?
Yes, we can and should.
Muncie at its finest. Like there are 2 women fighting in the drive-thru at McDonald's on Madison.
Yeah.
There was a slap fest. I had so many people send it to me and talk about it this week. It had 100,000 views in an hour.
It was. I was afraid it was ours.
McDonald's in downtown Muncie, Indiana. I heard it was over the breakfast line, and I think allegedly they ran out of an item, and the person in front was getting it, and the person behind wasn't going to get it. There were 2 very
frequent shoppers.
A couple of ladies that looked like they'd been through the line a time or 2, and they were having a full-on slap fest
around the front door.
Through the door, like the window was down.
Like one time, kind of through the door, but still, shockingly, a number of times around the door, even though they couldn't really reach. Like they weren't that tall, so like they were making it. It was like if you've ever seen like cats get in a fight, but it's like weird. It was a very weird fight because yes, there was an open window big enough to hit the other person through, but they were still making about 30 to 50% of their hits around the door.
Flap.
Yeah. It was funny. I was glad it wasn't Newcastle.
Everybody's like, "Where's the beginning?" I'm like, "This wasn't staged. This is just some saint of a person in the drive-through line that said these women are fighting each other. I'm going to record it so everybody can see it."
Yeah, it's authentic because they didn't get the whole thing, which means they had to get your phone out and get this video started.
Yeah, so you don't know exactly what happened. But the lady that won the fight, I say she won the fight because she didn't hit the ground like the other lady did. The lady that didn't hit the ground claimed that the lady hit the ground started it. Can't say for sure because it's not on the tape.
They were in a rush because there is not very many options for affordable child care in the state of Indiana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that is one of Governor Eric Holcomb's biggest legislative pushes for the year 2024 is addressing child care in the state of Indiana, especially for young children. And I think that's been a big talking point ever since John Gregg ran for governor in 2016. He wanted the universal pre-K program. Remember
I do.
that in the debates?
I do. I was there.
So yeah, that's been a big push, and then finally this year it's become a really big talking point for Republicans as well. And part of that, this is odd to me. So the government does weird things to incentivize stuff, and we see it with tax abatements all the time and stuff like that in local government. But then the State House with Senate Bill number 147 would give a property tax exemption, a partial property tax exemption, to employers that offer on-site child care, which is weird. I don't know of any employers that offer on-site child care.
They do. They're just larger places.
State of Indiana does. The downtown office building, just downtown though, like my office doesn't. But yeah, I don't think it's very common. I have a hunch a big part of it's liability.
Yeah, that would be
the
insane.
legal liability has to be insane.
I think it would be great. My son begs to come to work with me every day, so
they're not going to let him in the bucket truck.
No.
My wife's gone through all the hoops to get her preschool program licensed, and it's insane the amount of stuff that you go through licensing in terms of what can be stored with what separate areas for this, separate areas for that. So it's not like, oh, we're just going to throw this together thing.
So I can tell you right now that if there are county council people listening to this, and even county commissioners, they are ready to scream.
Yeah, because that's one thing. That's the state though, taking away from local governments.
Right.
Property taxes are going to pay into your local government, right? Yeah. So you know what we're going to do for you?
There's going to be like Dakota's office is just going to throw like a plastic slide and like a dog pen out the side and like, here we go, free child care.
Last year, Boar's Head, one of their parcels paid $700,000 in property taxes
for one of their
parcels. Yeah. Right. If you give them, hey, you know
they
what?
Have
if you
three
this,
parcels, correct?
I don't know, whatever it is. If you give them, that's their main one. But if you give them, say you give them a third off of that, all of a sudden you're going to take $300,000 out of the county budget.
Gosh,
just saying. Like
that is funny though, because it's the state giving away something that's not theirs,
right?
To give away, like that's literally it's not their money.
And I haven't read into this bill, but it also said that it makes for-profit child care services tax exempt. So I don't know.
I caught that too. That was a strange thing to me.
I didn't read it all the way. This was one of the last ones that I put in because it just caught my eye. But this is being pushed big time in the state house. So it's not like It's not like marijuana legislation. It's not like the first one that we read where it was a little bit too complicated to be ironed out this session. This is a big push. We know that with a supermajority, what we've seen the past 10 years with a supermajority is 9 times out of 10, what the governor wants, the governor gets.
There are 64 on-site corporate-sponsored child care centers in the state of Indiana, including Eli Lilly in Indianapolis, Toyota in Princeton, Indiana.
It's major corporations. Man, can you imagine the property taxes that Eli Lilly pays?
Here, look at this. They claim in their article there are 20,000 active manufacturing openings in Indiana, but without better child care option, those positions are not being filled or difficult. So why does the state have to pay for it? Why does the state have to say, hey, you know what, we're going to take out of the county's pocket that can't fix your damn water lines and sewer lines and your city property tax revenue, right, that theoretically could go to that? We're going to take that money and we're going to give that discount to Toyota or to Eli Lilly. And instead of them just sweetening the pot for their manufacturing process, we're going to give them a $300,000 tax credit, and the county is going to get shorted.
I'm not sure if other states are like this, but this is the most Indiana thing ever. And then because Indiana loves to take money away from local governments, give it away and do something else, and then sometimes, if they're really generous, they'll come up with a way you can win it back in a lottery.
Like an Okra grant?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Already child care centers that are in schools, nonprofits, and churches are tax exempt. Current Indiana law also allows for-profit early childhood education providers to be exempt from property taxes, but only those that are servicing children between the ages of 4 and 6. For-profit providers additionally have to meet other requirements to qualify for any tax breaks. The provider must be the property owner, and the services offered must primarily be educational. Certain state standards of quality need to be met, and participation in the state's early education evaluation program is mandatory. Senate Bill number 147 would relax all of those requirements.
Or they could just pay people enough to be able to afford child care.
And it's saying that one of the biggest reasons, she said, the author of this bill, that they want to relax those requirements is because that language of it being ages 4 to 6, a lot of them will just take kids ages 4 to 6 or 3 to 6.
They don't want to take your 2-year-old.
They're not going to take your infant or your
Which
toddler.
is when it's harder to act. Like, yeah, by the time that they're 4
they
or
can
even
kinda
3,
take care of themselves.
You can also you just leave them peanut butter jelly sandwich and some goldfish crackers and a juice box, and they're good to go. They're getting into preschool at that point,
right?
So you can put them in a program that will get them out of the house for at least like half the day, and then by kindergarten now it's full day. So
yeah, and that's what my son does. I mean, he was 3.5.
Yeah, the first couple
day.
years are the rough ones. Finding child care with the newborn,
I couldn't imagine. It would be rough.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I had in-laws and people, and my mom retired at the time, not too long after. But yeah, we had people that could do that. I couldn't. Yeah, there's so many people that the wife just stops working because it literally is a net. It's less of a net negative for them to just keep somebody home than it is to have both of them working.
It's a puzzle that every family has to solve. Every single one of them has to figure it out.
I mean, the thing is with the way that most jobs pay in the state of Indiana, which is poo-poo, if you are not higher up, you're not a person of seniority or have a 6-figure job, then you are going to be spending 3/4 of a paycheck on childcare just so you can go to work. What is the point? If you are not the person who is providing the insurance for the family, then what is the point for a few $100s a month?
That's your avocado toast money.
It's a joke.
That's your Stanley Tumbler money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you can make an argument that you might be putting adding more to a retirement fund for you guys as a
you're earning
family.
credits for all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but I would tell the state then if you want to do it, then you guys do it. Don't take the money out of the poor local governments and make them deal with it because they're not the ones doing any of this. So
yeah, that is the problem. And
I can tell you that if City Councilman Mark Koger is listening to this, he has turned every shade of red. Every shade of red has gone through Mark's. He's got the hot blood from your side of the family.
yeah, that's.
I bet it's even hard to tell. I tried to look up what Draper's property taxes were, and I'm guessing that there's a bunch of abatements going on there because it goes up and down wildly. Like there's some years it doubles, and then it goes right back down. I have a hunch that as they've done their expansions, they've gotten abatements. But yeah, for one of their years, it was like $350,000. A lot of them,
TS Tech's about $250,000.
Yeah, and it was like for most of the years it was 150, but because it was like I said, it would drop down. So I'm assuming they've done some expansion. So that's a lot of money for local governments.
Facilities are very, very, very important for your local communities. And that's why when you lose a Chrysler, when you lose Allegheny here in town,
Yeah.
those things disappear, and it takes a very long time to bring that tax base back. Yes, your $1,000 a year you pay in your property taxes on your home are important, but when all of those folks worked at a place that was dropping $1 million a year into the county coffers, that's 10 complete and total 100% benefits packages plus people doing county government work, very high end people.
Yeah.
So it's a huge problem.
And they don't have money to fix a water main break because of it. It had nothing to do with anything that the city or county did. So,
All right, Dakota, you got us a fun story.
Yep. This is called. Gosh, I've been coughing tonight. I don't know.
You got the Rona.
Keep breathing in, and I get like a sharp tickle in my throat. But anyway, the heading on this one is Hoosier Happy Hour, because this bill, House Bill number 1086, would legalize happy hour in the state of Indiana. If those of you who are outside of the state, we have many listeners who are across the country, may not know that happy hour is illegal in the state of Indiana.
Get on Dakota's knee and let him tell you a story about what happens when you go to Applebee's.
Yep.
this should be Bill 1786, as in we're 250 years behind on this kind of
Half
stuff.
price apps.
Yeah, you have an appetizer. You get food happy hour. You don't get an alcohol happy hour.
By law, you cannot sell a product at a different price, an alcoholic product at a different price throughout the day in the state of Indiana.
It has to be for an entire day. If you're going to do a drink special, you have to make it for your entire opening time.
It's your
for the
Thursday
day.
special. It's not the Thursday from 5 to 8 special.
Right. So House Bill 1086, which is co-authored by our brand new state representative, Mr. Corey Criswell.
Hey.
So he's doing us a favor here, maybe. And they are also trying to legalize carry-out alcohol sales as well. So
we did that during Rona.
Right. It was totally legal.
We completely did carry out margaritas from some Mexican restaurants.
But, however...
Now, were those folks breaking some rules? Maybe. But it was spectacular.
It was great.
I've never had a nicer margarita than the one we did carry out and put in the salted rim glasses during the pandemic.
It also gives the alcohol and tobacco people in the state of Indiana, it gives them the authority to revoke that privilege at any time.
If there's a problem, perhaps?
If they have a problem, they can take that privilege away from them of being able to carry out alcohol. And it also prohibits you, a retailer, if you are a bar, from allowing a game on the licensed premises that is determined by the quantity of alcohol beverages consumed by a patron, and awards alcoholic
Win
beverage.
a free car if you can drink this entire 5-gallon bucket of Busch Light.
Is that the beer pong rule?
Right. Or awards an alcoholic beverage as a prize, or is selling or serving an unlimited or indefinite amount of alcoholic beverages for a fixed price. So no
bottomless bucket.
Yep, no bottomless beers or anything like that.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me, I grew up, I went to Ball State. Was this outlaw penny pitcher night? I guess no, it's not an unlimited amount.
It's not, but like places who do like the bottomless mimosas can't do that. That's illegal.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be terrible.
You have to sell flights.
And it also specifies. Oh, no, never mind.
So
I already covered that.
The bill would allow retailers to reduce the drink prices for up to 4 hours per day.
Mm-hmm.
So say from 3 to 7, but less than 15 hours a week. So you can't do it every day. Happy hours wouldn't be allowed between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. So your happy hour has to end before 10 o'clock. So what's that give you? I guess you could do
you
2
can
hours.
Do it 2 hours every day.
2 hours, 7 days a week. So from 3 to 5. Yep. The old working man special.
Get your early dinner crowd.
Punch out at the factory, the asbestos plant. Come on down and get yourself a $1.50 Bud Light.
Yep.
That's popular, right?
Working late tonight, honey.
Drink away that tickle in your throat.
Yeah.
Ron knows what's up. The chug.
The chug.
I never actually went to the chug. I don't drink, but I knew penny pitcher night was a big deal.
It's
yeah.
I think it.
This is one of those things like, who's against this? I don't drink.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
against
crazy.
this. It's one of those things that's
Satan's going to take over. Okay, we can't. You're just going to have everybody drunk. We're going to have all these people drinking and driving, Zach, because it's cheaper. If the bill's cheaper, you know they're going to get liquored up and be in trouble.
they can do that
Right.
now. I feel like the people like Applebee's aren't really paying attention to how much it's costing anyway.
Because it's not costing much at Applebee's or the Elks.
The Elks, you're killing at the Elks.
The thing is like they're giving so much more freedom with this bill for business owners, but then also they're keeping it so restricted. That's what's hilarious about it. Like, not more than 15 hours though.
Just letting them. Oh, trust me, as an employee of said government, it sounds about right. So
They do note that they have to be careful. They're claiming that they have to be careful because they don't expressly prohibit taking your half-drank drink and putting it in a to-go cup. They don't necessarily want to allow it to take out to-go alcohol. So say you ordered that big 32-ounce pitcher of margarita, they don't want you being able to take that home.
I don't have a problem with if you're going to take out alcohol, you need to
It's in a sealed
grab
container.
it and take it with you to consume outside the restaurant. Not, oh, you drank some, here's the rest. You got like a to-go cup to go home with. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but do you want to force them? You know what? No. We're going to force you to drink it here.
You've got to drink that here.
You've got to drink it here and then get in that car and drive home. Do your responsible.
You know
Don't
what?
you get caught driving home
You know
with
what?
that.
That's what that person's been doing already. I know people have done. I know you know people that do that. Like, oh, we gotta go, and they'll knock back half of a tall boy.
Then it's a race. You're on the clock. You got 10 minutes to get home before it's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with the ability to take away the privilege if there's a problem.
Well, of all the ideas I've heard, the happy hour bill is the no-brainer of what's.
I don't. Yeah, I
a
don't
lot of the
understand.
other
It
ones
shouldn't even be
have
debatable.
some real issues and some things to think about. But we also are surrounded by states that have legal cannabis. So
they have legal cannabis, and we're like, can we get happy hour? That's
Yeah.
that's Indiana.
Can
in a
our
nutshell.
bars give us 10% off once a week?
remember, we are the state that forced Marsh out of business when they tried to save themselves and say, hey, we're going to sell our pharmacy to CVS. And then they realized, oh, shit, a week later, that means we have to close all of our liquor down completely.
Yeah.
And they had to get out of the liquor business, and then that bankrupted the company because they had all this inventory they couldn't sell, and they were dead. That was because of Indiana laws, because you can't sell alcohol if you don't have a pharmacist making it medicinal and legal. That's why your grocery store can do it, because you got a pharmacist overseeing it. That whiskey's for the sore throat.
Even though at our local,
But liquor stores don't have a pharmacist.
they're different.
they're different. At my
No, that's-
at my
yeah,
local
that's my point.
Yeah.
grocery store, the alcohol section and the pharmacy
On
are on
opposite
opposite
sides.
corners of the
Corners.
store. They
Yeah.
are as far apart as physically possible.
Pharmacist,
I
you know that
I
pharmacist
know-
comes by and just checks on those bottles to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, right?
Right.
Same thing at our Walmart.
I mean,
The
that's
Walmart,
why
it's like a
Yeah,
half-mile
it is,
walk.
yeah. I mean, it's not as far away. It's not as far
Yeah.
away as Kroger, but Walmart is. Yes, they can't see it without a carrier pigeon and a drone or something. Yeah.
I mean, that's why Buffalo Trace was able to keep distilling during Prohibition, was medicinal whiskey.
Off the notes just for a second. This is not a sports story. If we had co-host Mark Foltz, if he had come tonight, I was going to make sure this was in the notes, but it's not. But did you catch any of the Taylor Swift Buffalo Bills coverage over the weekend? Dakota
Why
and
would I
Zach?
pay any attention?
I feel like it was like a black hole. You couldn't
You'll-
not.
You'll hear.
I saw the picture of the retired Kelsey guy looking like
There it
Burt
is.
Kreischer
freshly
with his
retired.
shirt
Yeah,
off.
I was gonna say
This is
good for him.
Jason Kelsey.
I did not see one picture. I guess today I saw a picture of Taylor Swift at the game, but behind her was shirtless Jason Kelsey. So it was a picture of Jason Kelsey that Taylor Swift had. He upstaged her in the most hilarious way.
I think that was his point.
Well, I think he was
that's
just
what doing on purpose.
he just retired. He retired like at the end of this season. So he's decked out in gear for his brother. Yeah, he's running around, jumps out of the suite shirtless.
He wasn't decked out in gear. He was wearing sweatpants and
Oh,
no
he
shirt.
had a toboggan on. I think he had some other gear on
I sent
before
you
he
the
took it
link
off.
to the audio, Zach, if you want to try to get it. You don't have to, but it's there if you want it. Because he and his brother did a podcast, and he basically explained to his wife, hey, I'm gonna I'm going to be shirtless tonight. Just so you know, it's going to happen. He went. So his brother's playing. His brother is Travis, who's dating Taylor Swift. He rolls into the game. He played for the Eagles. He hasn't officially announced he's retiring, but apparently he told the rest of the team in the locker room after his final game, when they lost to the Buccaneers, that he was going to retire. So he goes and rolls into Buffalo to support his brother as they're playing the Buffalo Bills. The Kelceys have a suite for Taylor Swift, and he's going to be hanging out in there with them. He's wearing the Kansas City Chiefs T-shirt, and before the game, he did the legendary Buffalo Bills Mafia. He hung out with them, so all of their fans. So he's just shotgunning beers in the parking lot before the game.
Yeah, so he did have.
He was
for a guy who was like 3 weeks ago an Eagle. Was he an Eagle?
He's
yeah.
a Philadelphia Eagle.
Philadelphia Eagle. He was in Kansas City gear, like
supporting his brother
to a shocking degree. Considering yes, he was employed by another team just weeks ago. So yeah,
I'm gonna let Zach join this in progress here and see how we do. This is the most difficult part of his job.
Travis Kelce tells Jason, "We've got to talk about his wild antics in Buffalo in teaser for New Heights after Eagles star stole
This
the
may or
headlines
may not
from
actually
Taylor
be
Swift
the
with
real
his
video.
shirtless celebrations. Jason stole the show on
Let's see
Sunday.
here.
Welcome our new
and the
narrator.
Buffalo
We've got him
Bills.
for the year.
The
He costs us
Philadelphia
30
Eagles
cents.
center, making the most of his
The
off-season.
best thing is you need
was
to look up this
initially
video,
filmed
and
downing
we'll put it in
drinks
the
with Bills
Patreon
fans at the
group.
tailgate.
Is the security guys are
Expected to retire,
losing- yeah, I
was
don't know
then
if this is the
pictured
actual
meeting
audio, if it's just
27 to
I
24
don't
win.
think that's it.
No,
Is
it's
this
not it.
ChatGPT's voice?
I think so. I'm trying to see.
Oh,
if
we're gonna try again.
I'm trying to
we're-
see
We're gonna try again here.
because there's none of it. It says that it's them talking about it, but it's the whole video is this AI guy talking.
All right, I got it again here. It's I have it from his podcast. The reason I didn't grab this one is because it was 8 minutes long and I wasn't certain what we were gonna get. So we'll try this one, Zach, and go.
Okay, give me. It takes me a minute to get this to load up.
He's got.
I'm
And
working
if I
on
take
it.
my shirt off, then I'm outside and I'm part of the Buffalo Bills pageantry.
This is Jason.
And
Yes.
it just, dude, it was something about the entire day. I got caught up in the magic of Bills Mafia. It is electric. Everybody's the energy, the shenanigans.
He's just gonna choose to play there next year.
And I'm
not
like,
retiring.
I got to have my shirt off at some point, and I didn't get to do it beforehand. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess, and I can't just take my shirt off in the box. Like, who takes their shirt off in a box? It's heated. Like, you're not really doing it. Now you're just having your shirt off in a, yeah.
Yeah, of course, no, real cool.
So I'm like, you
that's-
know what?
so
I'm
that's
gonna
why
do,
you
this is what I'm
jumped
gonna do. I'm taking my shirt off and I'm jumping out of this box. So then I'm out of the box and I have my shirt off, and then I can be like my Buffalo Bills Mafia like compadres.
The best part is when he
I
jumps
had no
out.
idea
This
any
is
of
how
this
my
was
mind
going on.
works after
He's chugging a
40
beer.
Miller
He
Lights.
jumps out and the security doesn't try to stop him. They just say, "You can't take that beer out here," and they make him put it down.
Who knows what the fuck?
There's
Yeah,
like
bully
four
ball.
security
right,
guys
that's
that are
right.
right
Well,
there.
let's get to more of you during
Yeah.
the game. You celebrated my touchdown by taking off your shirt, screaming, jumping out of the suite, chugging a beer with the fans, then jumping back into the suite.
It's correct. This is all accurate.
I watched this, and it was pure pandemonium. Just pandemonium, just confusion of who to cheer for. It was a Chiefs touchdown, but it looked
Well,
like
they're
Bills.
booing.
Everyone,
There's a lot of boos. There's a lot of boos. There's a lot of cheers though too. I think. I don't know, man.
tell you what, man. If you don't run for president, this all is just going to go to waste.
I'm in. I'm fully
This
in.
is all just.
You know what?
It looks like
I
a
am
political
too.
campaign. You're just reeling them in.
But yeah. So yeah, that's hilarious. Good for him. Like I said, the most interesting thing about this is this guy who played for another team. He's freshly retired, and he is like all in on the and he's all in on the culture of a team that his brother was playing against. But he's still like, oh, this is amazing. Like this is the most amazing thing ever.
The best part is that he's having this conversation with his wife ahead of time, and he tells it later in the podcast. He's like, "I'm dear Mrs. Me, I'm gonna do this," and she's like, "Please don't." And he's like, "I'm going to. Just be warned." And she's like, "We're meeting Taylor this weekend. Like we don't know her. We're meeting her." And he's like, "The weekend I met you, I was passed out drunk on the ground. It was fine. It was my charm."
Yeah,
So
I have a hunch that she doesn't care.
so he's
Well, yeah, you see in the pictures, she's in the background,
she's just
Yeah.
his
le-
wife, and she's like
respectful.
grinning ear to ear. Like,
So-
she's totally cool.
I
with
have a
it.
hunch Taylor doesn't care either. I bet Taylor thinks it's hilarious.
So I'm seeing this shared over the weekend, and cousin Donnie Morrill, who was from here, that's who Donnie is. His sister's like, "Yep, these are my brothers. These are my brothers. This is exactly what it is. This is cousin Donnie." And the best part is that he's going out in the crowd as the game's going, getting children who have Taylor Swift posters and carrying them up so that Taylor can see them and meet them.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah, I
he
saw
doesn't
that.
know her.
That's
Like
really
it's
cool.
they've known each other for 2 hours, and he's just dragging Buffalo kids up there. He should run for president. I'm in, fully in.
You know what?
I endorse this.
There'd probably be some kind of like foreign relations disaster or whatever, but man, I think our country would be a lot better off if just some normal dude was the president.
He can grab Pete
fun.
Buttigieg and put him in charge of foreign relations.
Shirtless on the South Lawn.
Just having a
chugging
good time.
beers.
Yeah. Just,
I'm in.
Yeah. Beer, like Memorial Day beer pong tournament. Well,
This
listen,
is the State of the Union address brought to you by Miller Lite.
I'll tell you what the most.
if we can get rid of the 80-year-olds and go get a 37-year-old with the bad back,
freshly retired,
I'm in.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though. He like Ron Milford. He looks like Burt Kreischer. Yes, he does. Kind of Burt Kreischer / Yukon Cornelius, because he's kind of got the beard going. And you think, oh, this is just some dude. And I didn't know for sure. Like I didn't recognize him the first time I saw the video. But then he jumps back in the suite, and you're like, oh yeah, that dude's an athlete. He jumps in like with no problem whatsoever,
Completely effortless.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, but you get, like to have that much fun. I hadn't seen a part about like going and getting posters. Like that's cool. Just he's just having a great time. And making sure everybody around him has a great time too.
All right.
Good people to have around.
I think we're at the point in the show we need to do final thoughts. This has been fun. Dakota, you did great. Gold star.
You're welcome.
Spectacular work. The sugar high from the donuts is probably just about ready to wear
rewarded
off.
by donuts. I'm going to pick out what I want and what Sarah Morrill gets to eat
and
for
what
breakfast.
you're going to allow her to have. Zach, you got any final thoughts for me?
No, I just want to see the sun again. And other than that, I can't think if there's much coming up. I should know better if there's anything coming up.
You got the Rolex.
Yeah,
Are you going to
Rolex.
stay up all night, watch the race?
I probably won't stay up all night, but I do have I'll tell you what. The person I was mooching Peacock off of let their subscription go, so I couldn't watch stuff on Peacock. So I bought my own subscription because my new thing now is because I've run out of Star Wars stuff to watch. Is in the last week I'm down to the last movie of Harry Potter. I've watched all the Harry Potter movies in the last
have this much time?
7 days.
How do you have
He just stands there and does his
everything
dishes.
with everything you do? How do you have enough time to
you know
watch
what,
movies?
because that was like 7. First of all, I just don't watch anything else, and then so I just try to get all my chores done or whatever, and sit down by like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and just knock one out at night. I haven't gotten as much sleep this week as I should have, but
How are you watching a full movie at 8 p.m.?
I stayed up till 10:30. I stayed up till 11 one night. That was a mistake.
But are you watching them like on the couch or are you watching them in bed?
Sitting in a recliner.
Okay. See, the thing about me with the TV at nighttime is as soon as it's on, I'm immediately falling asleep.
See, I was this popped up in one. There's for people that don't know, libertarians love chats, and so there's a million chats that you're in when you get into the circle. And that came up today that some people are like go to sleep immediately. People, my brain turns on at night. I'll be like, I'll feel tired, and I don't have any trouble. I'm like paying attention to him, so I don't have any trouble with him.
That's
I've
how
never
my
seen
wife
him.
is.
I've never seen him before, so.
And she's constantly going, "Are you asleep?" And I'm constantly going,
Oh yeah, my wife falls
No.
asleep. My wife falls asleep in like seconds, and my go to sleep time from like head to pillow to asleep is probably 30 to 60 minutes.
"It's insane." I'm
So-
like 5.
Rolex 24, Ron Milford is in the chat asking if there's anybody famous. Well, there are some Boss Hog alums associated with the race. Our buddy Kyle Robbins is going to be crewing. He's a mechanic on the 25 car, which has is it Nick Tandy? Is that what we talked about, Zach? The BMW.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then Chris Wheeler, who was with us just a month ago, is one of the strategists on the. I think it's the 01 Cadillac. He's going to be like the graveyard shift strategist when the top guy goes away or takes his nap. Chris is running the car. He's sitting on the pit stand and making all the strategy calls, which is going to be great. So it's going to be a fun time.
I was trying to look and see. It's something like more than half of the
There's like 20. Yeah, there's
IndyCar paddock.
I think
is
it's
in
17 IndyCar drivers are actively going to be in this
I
race.
knew that they put it online. Somebody posted it online. I can't recall, but yeah, Dixon's in there. Grosjean.
I have the full list if you want it.
You got yeah.
I got it all right here. Hang on. Oh,
There's, I mean, if you like a form of racing, except for, I bet, is there some NASCAR guys in there? That might be the only one.
There are.
Yeah,
Bubba
okay.
Wallace is going to be in it.
Yeah, there's somebody from the series you like, except for Top Fuel.
GTP, the
is
very
in there.
top end deal. Scott Dixon, Alex Pillow, Joseph Newgarden, Marcus Ericsson, Tom Blomqvist, and Colton Herta are all in cars. In the LMP2 category, which is like the number 2 sports car, still very quick. Last year they thought it might have actually won the race. Pato Award, Scott McLaughlin, Christian Rasmussen, Felix Rosenquist, Nolan Siegel, and Kiffin Simpson. And then the sports car, the cars that look like the car you might drive, Dakota, the McLarens, the Corvettes, the Porsches, Alexander Rossi, Kyle Kirkwood, and Romain Grosjean will be in those.
And James Hinchcliffe, who should
And
count,
yeah,
'cause
James
he's-
Hinchcliffe, who's not there, but he's also running that same McLaren car with Alexander Rossi.
Yeah, FAF Racing.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a very exciting.
The best
race
part
to
about it
watch.
is you can go take a break, come back, take a break, come back, and it's always there. It's like a warm hug for the weekend.
24 hours of racing nonstop, Dakota. That is worth Peacock right there.
It's crazy.
Also, they have this is our wintertime binge now. Sarah's been watching the Desperate Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or whatever the hell it is on Peacock.
Oh, that has to be the most uninteresting one. Are they all Mormons?
No, well, yes, but they're bad Mormons.
Oh, bad.
They're bad Mormons.
Mormons behaving badly.
And then there's people have gone to prison over the course of the 4 years. Some of them behave very badly. But we've been watching the extended cuts of The Office where they take all the extra stuff and they throw it in. So an episode that may have been 30 minutes, all the extra shit, they throw it in. It's 45, 50 minutes. And then Brooklyn Nine-Nine is on there too. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Yeah.
if you've never
Yeah,
watched it,
that's a good one.
that is worth the
I'll
time
get
and
to
effort.
some other stuff, but yeah, I just signed up just because I was like, I wanted to knock out the Harry Potter movies, and it says they're leaving soon, so I'm like, oh man, I better get these done.
If
Yeah,
you
Did
ever,
you-
yeah, I have a way to access those on Vudu. if
yeah.
you ever really
Well,
need it.
Dakota, talked like how you found this time during the summer.
You're
I was
camping.
camping almost every weekend and coaching cross country, which involved heavy Saturdays of like I was be gone from like 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So now it was too cold over the weekend to do anything. Like I wasn't going outside. I was worn out Friday because I ran, donated blood, and ran a concession stand. So like at this point in the year, I've decided it's okay for me during the wintertime to sit on my butt and do nothing for chunks of the weekend. And that's what I do.
You have our approval. All right, Dakota. Final thoughts.
I just want to say that we are aware that the website isn't currently not working.
Kind of works.
Chris Spangle is, if you just ignore the error message, there is no one trying to attack you from the website.
It does. It gives you.
Dakota denied me. I said the website's goofed up, man.
It was
No,
fine
it's
on my
not.
phone.
It's fine. It's not.
If you go in, Google it, and then go down on the Google search and scroll down till you get to the Newcastle Chamber of Commerce page, and then go in that way, and it works that way. It worked for me that way, but yeah, if you just put in BossHogLiberty.com, it tells you this is not a secure site, and they're trying to steal your information. And if we want to do that, we'll have you give it to Patreon. And
Chris,
give it to us willingly.
Chris Spangle is on the case. It's still not fixed. I don't know what he's got to do about it, but
Speaking of Spangle, in a roundabout way, Christy Avery, good for her today. She got to go watch Bob and Tom in live today. They had they had one of their days where Tom does Tom things. So they had the Duke Tomato and the Power Trio, which is actually like 8 people, and this is Steven Singer Singers. And Christy Avery made the social medias because she was there watching that in person.
She was a
Jealous.
VIP.
Yeah, jealous.
You should have gone.
I was working.
You should have self-invited yourself, Zach. My final thoughts, the semi-serious ones. You mentioned donating blood, and this time of the year, it's really, really important because people don't do it or can't get out, and things happen. I shared on Facebook today. We got a family that basically the father of one of my cousin's spouses has got a long-term disease where he needs platelets, he needs whole blood, and he gets hospitalizations, and there's such a shortage that he has to get very, very debilitated before he can actually go back in and get a transfusion. And she shared a plea basically saying, hey, if you are at all able to donate blood, you can help solve this problem. So they literally have people that are sitting there waiting, and they can't, folks are waiting on a lung, folks are waiting on a heart, folks are waiting on a kidney, and you can't do anything about that. But a blood shortage where somebody has to have it to live and to go on, we could do something about that. So based on that story, I registered again today. Blood centers, they send a bus to Newcastle all the time.
Yep, they were at the hospital last week.
I donate when I can, as much as I can. I think I'm at donation 46 through the blood center and a few more through Versity is what it's called now. It used to be the DNA Blood Center, and I think I did 2 or 3 with the Red Cross as well. But there's one that has late night hours. So I wanted to give the shout out to that one. The Henry County Health Department's putting it on. It's March 27th. It's a ways out. But they go till 7 o'clock at night. So they bring the bus right here to downtown. Jump on the website, go on Versity or Donor Point, Versity, whatever it is. You can Google search it. Their Google works. Ours not so much, but theirs works. And go make an appointment, and you will.
Yeah.
You can literally save a life.
And they both have pretty handy apps. And yeah, if once you get it down, like the process is pretty. You know, it takes like, I've done on my lunch break and had to take like an extra 15 minutes on a 30-minute lunch. I can be there, drive there, get it done, get back in like 45 minutes flat.
As many fruit snacks as you want.
Oh man,
All the fruit snacks.
They give
All those oatmeal cookies.
Yeah.
The peel top juices, Dakota, like the grape juice. I am a sucker for that peel top grape juice.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for oatmeal cookies.
And this time they were giving away like toboggans, and they'll give away like bottles and just random stuff. But yeah, it's quick. It's. I hate needles, and they tell you, hey, we're about to do this. You want to turn away? Turn away. Hurts for a second. Goes real quick. Done. Out. And on with your day.
So I think I've been doing it about 15 years or so, and I did platelets for a long time, and now I give whole blood when I can. There's no substitute for it. So if there's a charity that I'm involved with at this point, it's doing that. And we have a little bit of advocacy on the show. Folks that are in your lives are struggling and need it. So if you're able to, or if you've never done it and you want to try, make an appointment, go down there. If you can't do it, it doesn't work out, then it is what it is. But you can give it the old college try. But right now is the time people need it. So winter time especially. So with that, we say thank you so very much. And we will be back next Thursday night.